Welcome to DevOps Interview Preparation Part 6. If you are new to this video, I have already published 5 other videos. You can go and watch and prepare with me for the DevOps interviews. If you wish to practice and take mock interviews with me, there is the link in the description where you can reach me out via email or WhatsApp, and we can discuss how we can take mock interviews for you in terms of DevOps. So let's begin part number 6 now. The first question is coming from the domain Jenkins. And the question is, how do you handle security in Jenkins? Think about it. How do you handle security in Jenkins? They might just ask you this question, as a general question, want to understand how are you maintaining it. Why would they be asking this question? Well, in the interview, if you say that I have used Jenkins, we take care of Jenkins, our team owns Jenkins. In this case, they might ask you this question. So be careful what you also say and project in the interview, but let's focus on the question now. So how do you handle security in Jenkins? Well, let's see the answer. So when we speak about security in Jenkins, there are a lot of components that gets involved. Which security are we speaking of? Are we speaking of secrets? Are we speaking of login and authentication? Or are we speaking of making sure that Jenkins is inside a VPC that is avoiding any public traffic? So you have to break this question into multiple pieces and try to answer one of them. As I have just asked, how do you handle security in Jenkins? We can start by saying that Jenkins login authentication can be done by different LDAP services. What are LDAP services? It's something like Azure SSO login or Gmail login, etc. Apart from this, there are other authentication methodology also that exists, like secret authentication, authentication with GitHub, etc., which also speaks about security in Jenkins. So how do we answer this in the interview then? This is how you can answer it. You can say that Jenkins security is based on multiple pieces of what we do inside Jenkins. On a broader scale, if I were to say, if I have to authenticate someone in Jenkins to begin with, which is the first and foremost authentication that I can do, then we have integrated this authentication that is logging into the Jenkins via LDAP service that our company has. So we will not have anyone using a same password. That is, the company is not using the same admin password, admin username and admin password to log in. Instead, we have dedicated username and password, which we get from LDAP, and it gets integrated. Okay. So let's go to the next question. But before I go to the next question, if you are liking the way I'm presenting it, if you're understanding it, if you are seeing that there is value to this, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. My aim is to publish such videos, which will be around 6 to 7 minutes. That's it, every day. But I need your support. I need you to like this video. I need you guys to follow the channel. So it encourages me to do it. Well, let's go to the second question. And the second question is coming from Kubernetes. What is liveliness probe? Why is it used? Also, what's a failure threshold for this liveliness probe? Needless to say, this question is coming from Kubernetes. And if you have taken Kubernetes as a part of your course, if you have mentioned Kubernetes as a part of your resume, then you should be knowing this concept. If you have not mentioned it, don't worry, it's not a big deal. You can say that I have not used it. So what's the answer for this? Liveness probe is responsible for having to check if the pod is running properly or not, or is in a proper state or not. So what is a proper state? When the pod gets deployed, so you have a deployment file, right? And from this deployment.yaml, your pod gets deployed, okay, inside the Kubernetes. Now, if this pod is in good health, who is checking this? Good health is important because without the good health, it might be possible that your pod is not in the right state. So somebody has to check that the pod that has been deployed, into our service is really proper. It is good, it's functioning, and also it's in a running state, most importantly, right? And that is done by the liveness probe. And what is the threshold? So sometimes when you spin up a pod, it can take 1 second. And sometimes when you spin up a pod, it can take up to 10 seconds, which is fine because it depends on your application. And liveness probe actually runs immediately after the pod deployment. So in the first case, what happens is it says that, okay, it looks good. But in the second case, the liveness probe might fail because your pod will not be in a running state until 10 seconds. So you can add some threshold here, meaning it will wait for certain time and it will wait for this pod to really come up. And you can add a threshold like in seconds or retries. So it will keep on retrying until for some time, and then it gives a successful result. This threshold is important because not all application will just come up in 1 second, right? It depends on your team and etc. So how do you answer this in the interview then? Liveness probe is responsible for checking the status of the pod once a deployment is completed. Ideally, the status of the pod has to be in the running state, meaning it is healthy, which marks the deployment as successful. In certain cases, we might tend to see that the pod would take a bit more time to get started and come to the running state, in which case we can add some threshold to wait for the liveness probe to continuously evaluate the situation of the pod and give us the result after certain time. I hope these interview questions are helpful. My friends, don't forget to watch 5 other videos in the same channel. If you follow this channel and if you practice with me in the mock interview, and the interview questions, you will definitely get a job, don't you? Because you're practicing with me, you are seeing how I'm presenting the answer. All you have to do is encourage me, click me a like button, subscribe the channel. And if you want to speak with me, if you want to interact with me, go to the link in the description, reach out to me via WhatsApp or via email, and we can have a chat. Thank you and bye-bye.